Good evening and welcome back to your favorite Friday show, Beyond the Deal. Today we're going to talk about a very controversial topic, especially in the state of Florida, and more specifically in Miami-Dade and Broward County, housing affordability. And when it comes to housing affordability, let's be honest. If you are in your 20s or 30s trying to buy a house in 2025, feels like trying to buy a yacht with a 9 to 5 paycheck, isn't it? And you're not crazy for thinking that, because homeownership today is harder than ever before. But here's the thing, the dream isn't dead, it's just changed its rules. And in this episode, I'm going to break down what's happening, why it's hitting you buyers so hard, and how to flip the script in your favor, even with interest rates near 7%. Let's get started. Let's start with a cold truth. In the 1990s, the average home in the United States cost about 2.5 times the average income. Fast forward to today, that same ratio has exploded to over 6 times in most urban areas. Take Miami-Dade, for example. Median home price, around $650,000. Median household income, just over $65,000. That's almost an impossible math, isn't it? Now add student loans, car payments, inflation at the grocery store, and boom, you've got an entire generation locked out of the market. Now let's talk about the real problem in the room, interest rates. In 2021, people were locking in rates around 2.5%. That's almost free money, isn't it? But what's happening in 2025? We're sitting at 6.75% at the time and date we recorded this video. And let's break it down. So say you're buying a $500,000 home, right? At a 2.5% interest like 2021, your monthly payment is around $2,000. Obviously, this is just principal and interest. Remember, you need to add taxes and insurance if the property is being financed. Now, that was at a 2.5. At a 6.75%, that number jumps to over $3,000. You're paying $12,000 more per year in just interest. So yeah, it's not just prices going up, it's the cost of borrowing money, which is also crushing affordability. And rates are high for a reason. Inflation is sticky. The Fed's playing defense, and global markets are still unstable. And this is not changing overnight. Now, here is the ironic part. Renting isn't much better. In cities like Miami, Austin, or LA, rents have jumped by over 30% in just 3 years. And even though some markets are cooling, most renters are still paying a premium for nothing in return. When you rent, you're building someone else's equity, living month to month with no control over your future, and paying not a 6.70 something, a 100% interest rate because you are getting nothing in return for your investment. That's the emotional cost that nobody talks about, feeling stuck. But what if I told you there is a way out? Stick with me and we'll discover it after this commercial pause. Now, this is time to get creative, right? So the first option, buy a duplex, a triplex, or even a single family home with a good potential. Live in one unit and rent the other one. Let your tenant pay part of it or all of your mortgage. I have multiple clients who have done that in the past and now they're building equity while paying less than they used to in rent. Now, this is important. And let's be clear. In Miami-Dade, if you purchase a duplex, the chances of covering the full mortgage with the rental income from just one unit are rare. I will not generalize, but it's uncommon. However, it can still make a positive impact on your monthly payments while you build equity. Additionally, depending on the purchase price of the property you purchase, you might even end up paying less for the remaining balance of your mortgage than what you were previously paying in rent, and that's important to keep in mind. The second option, go where money makes sense. This might seem obvious, but it's not. More often than you might think, people go after the nicer areas for their first property and end up committing to a mortgage they can barely afford just because of the location. Instead, it's often wiser to think strategically. Consider where it makes more sense to buy, where the mortgage will not put as much financial pressure on you, and this way you can later save, purchase a better property in a more desirable location, and keep the first one as an investment. You don't need to start in Brickell or Coral Gables. Look at zip codes with growth potential. Think Homestead, or even outside of the city limits, or north, North Miami Beach, Miami Gardens, El Portal. Those are also good examples. And then we've got a third option, co-buying. This one is still new for a lot of people, but it's growing. You can partner with a friend or sibling, split the cost, the down payment, the mortgage, and enter the market together. There are legal structures that make it safer and clear. You do not need to wait for rates to come down. You need to use the tools that already exist. And look, this is important for you to know. Don't get frustrated. The system wasn't built for us. But that doesn't mean we cannot build within it. Yes, the dream of homeownership has changed. It's no longer white picket fences at all. It's strategy. It's community. It's knowing how to play the game. And most importantly, it's knowing that the first deal doesn't have to be your forever home. It just has to be your first step. So if this episode gave you clarity or even just hope, hit that like button. Share this with someone you know who's stuck and thinks buying is impossible. And if you're in Florida and ready to explore those options together, you know where to find us. This is Beyond the Deal, where we talk real estate with no filters and no sugarcoatings. Until next time, I hope that whatever happens in your life between now and the next time we have the opportunity to meet is absolutely amazing. Stay happy out there.